DFW Roadkill and I went down to Palo Pinto County to do some predator and hog hunting. It was a beautiful day, and after touring the property, we got our gear loaded up, and then we decided to head on out and do a little bit of predator calling to start off the evening. We headed down the road to a nice canyon area that we had seen earlier and thought would make a good place for a stand. We set up just before sundown, watching over the canyon, and after sundown, we got lucky. The coyotes started showing up with the help of our caller. I originally only thought there was one coyote, even though you can see two in the video here. I was only focusing on the one in the center. Turns out there were actually three coyotes. I see this coyote go running back. Then later I see this coyote come running forward. I'm assuming it's the same coyote. And I'm thinking it's too far away for a shot. So I do a little scanning, see if there's something else going on. And I don't realize that the coyotes run off and I focused on a different one. When all of a sudden, this other coyote comes running in from the side here. And I'm trying to pan over to keep up with it, and I'm not in position with my sticks. I let out a little holler to try to stop it. I almost fall out of my chair. So I come back around to look for any other coyotes. I see this coyote, and I wait on him. I would like it to be just a little bit closer. And now it's out in the open, so I blow on my call to make him stop. And this is the view from DFW Roadkill's rifle.
Good shot.
And the coyote turned out to be a nice little female. We packed up our gear and headed down the road, and it wasn't too long before we came across the sounder of hogs. And this is where we started our first stalk. Here you'll see a progression of images as we move closer, trying to get into a better shooting position. This sounder is one of those really active sounders where none of the hogs stay in place for very long, and rarely did each of us have a shot on the hog at the same time where there wasn't any vegetation between us and the hogs. So we kept waiting, hoping that we'd get a couple together that we could shoot. Finally it happened, and despite these hogs being at a higher elevation than we were, we had the canyon bluff in the distance as a backstop. The only problem is we had a miscommunication, and we both ended up shooting the same hog.
Yep.
Here's the view from DFW Roadkill's rifle, and despite having two shots in her, we never found this hog.
Are you on? Yep.
We finished up in the canyon and came topside, spying these hogs on another part of the property. The wind was not in our favor for our approach, but when we got down close enough, we were in a position where the wind was crossing between us and the hogs. Especially in the high wind, we wanted to get as close as possible, but at the same time there was a very bright moon out, so we didn't want to spook the hogs. We ended up approaching to within about 150 to 180 yards before we set up and decided to take our shots. Here's the view from DFW Roadkill's rifle. Here's the view from my rifle. The high winds made communications difficult, and as it turns out, we ended up both opening up on the same hog. We recovered 2 boars, 130 pounds and 150 pounds. And this is DFW Roadkill's ear-to-ear headshot boar. DFW Roadkill spied these hogs from a long way away. We were able to drive up about half the distance and only had to walk the last 300 yards or so. Again, the moon was very bright, but the wind was in our favor, so we thought we could make a good approach. The only problem was there was multiple fences between us and the hogs. We needed to get up close so that we would be down to only one fence that we could shoot over. The problem then became that one fence was the last fence which the hogs were standing right next to. And as it turns out, as we made the approach, I got busted and half the hogs on the right hand side took off. Thought we could go ahead and approach the last group of hogs, maybe going slowly, but that didn't work out either, and those hogs busted me as well. For those of you who think that hogs can't see, they see just fine. Fortunately, the hogs didn't run too far and we could still see one of them hanging back. So we decided to wait and see if any would come back out, and sure enough, they did. I had my eyes set on this boar, and I was hoping we could line up and both take a shot on it, and about this time, the batteries on my recorder went dead. DFW Roadkill spied this other hog and thought if we waited, it might eventually come out as well. After some debate, we decided to go ahead and try a double on the one hog that was out in the open.
Go ahead.
This one was a nice 190-pound boar with a shot to the low right side of the head. As happens in hunting, we had a few problems, but we worked through them. The weather was absolutely wonderful, and despite the winds being very high, we were able to use them to our advantage and make the hunt successful. Thanks for watching.